Once upon a time, the first 3 seasons were good, and then after that they just kept getting worse. I watched about that much till it got boring and too weird. I enjoyed them giving Disney characters a twist separate from their movie counterparts. Then something about seeing Elsa basically cosplaying the animated movie made me stop. It was more fun when they left us guessing who the new person was and not throwing it in our faces like that. Castle. By the end of filming, the two main leads hated each other, and you can tell. They had to come up with wacky storylines to keep them apart. Yeah, early and mid Castle were great to good. Everything after the wedding kidnapping is hard garbage, Heroes. Season 1 was great and fresh. Season 2 didn't know what to do with itself and just started giving everyone superpowers. By season 3, characters were just changing motivations at the drop of a hat, and it was just a huge mess of bad writing. Hero stuck in the past. Now he lost his powers. Now he thinks he's a child. Anything, just make sure he's not in the story, because he'll resolve it in like a second. The Blacklist. So many loopholes and a never-ending plot. I mean, the female hero, forgot her name, was wanted and had her pictures broadcast nationwide live, but a couple of weeks after she can do undercover work. I loved the first season, and then every character became the worst versions of themselves. Liz got even more boring. Red got more mysterious with fewer actual plot points or revelations. Every FBI agent seemed to get dumber. It's all Spader could do to keep that show alive, but eating scenery only goes so far. Arrow. It's what happens when you try to make so many seasons for a show meant for only a few. I still remember when the subreddit was rebranded as Felicity or something with the banner featuring only her to mock the fact that the show only revolved around her. And at some point they converted into a subreddit for Daredevil out of sheer protest. Flash is like at the 547th season now, but I don't think it's ever gotten this bad. Not the worst offender, but that 70s show tanked pretty hard once Eric left. He was all he needed to make the chemistry of the group work. I think regardless the show was reaching its end. When it started it was a show about a bunch of teenagers living with their parents. It would be weird for them to all stay together, hanging out in their friend's parents' basement as they got into their 20s. We want the characters to grow, but eventually they move past what the show can realistically portray without completely upending itself. Weeds. A hilarious and intriguing show that slowly grew to be about a bunch of unlikable assholes making bad selfish decisions. When there's no one with any redeeming characteristics, there's no one for the audience to get behind. Was going to mention this. It started out great, but really started to go off the rails with characters making increasingly nonsensical choices. Nancy marrying the Mexican drug lord was the beginning of the end. Heroes. Biggest drop in quality after season 1. There was a huge writer's strike, so they had to discard everything already written for season 2 and distance the show from the plot written by the team on strike to avoid lawsuits/copyrights. If I remember correctly, I read the original season 2 was going to be about the main characters having to reveal themselves to the world as superheroes in order to save a city from a dam breaking or something like that. Grey's Anatomy 100%. The show was great, but I just can't keep up with all the twists and turns and freaky accidents anymore. It's also a lot less funny. It should have ended seasons ago. If they wanted to throw in a real plot twist, they should write a character living a long and happy life with no crazy accidents. True Blood. When the fairies entered the picture, I exited. I finished the series, but wanted to stop when Blythe became a thing. House of Cards. The first 2 seasons were amazing. After that it started to get progressively worse. It should have been 2 seasons of him reaching the presidency, and then 2 seasons of everything going downhill. 4 seasons total, 1 for each suit of cards, 2 for building the house of cards, 2 for making it fall apart. How to Get Away with Murder. The first season had some intrigue and plot, and then they just start murdering people left and right after that. Yeah, the first season I had sympathy for the characters cause there was an accidental murder. Then in later seasons they were all murderers, and I was thinking, why am I even trying to sympathize with these characters at all? They should all be in jail. The Flash on CW. And Arrow. Legends got better after season 1. Supergirl was pretty steady in terms of quality for the most part, but had some really bad lows, and not too many highs. Batgirl was dogshit from the beginning. I feel like I would have liked S&L if it came out at the beginning of the Arrowverse, but by then I just couldn't get invested in another CW show. Bones. At first it was a fresh setting for a procedural with likable, developed characters. But then Brennan got flanderized hard starting around S4, and it was never the same. Can't watch it after what they did to Zack. F asterisk 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 that S asterisk asterisk asterisk. Any show that has more than 4 seasons without any prior planning for it. Does that mean you're not watching Grey's Anatomy every week on Hulu? The Walking Dead. Oh god, to think they're doing a 3rd spin-off. Ugh, AMC just fell so hard with this show. The 100. Okay, I'm here again to say that season 5 should have been the finale. Harper and Monty set them up for a new beginning after everything that happened. The end. After that, they slowly ruined every good thing about the show. I actually think that Glee was like a fun guilty pleasure show when it first came out. Then after like 4 to 6 episodes there was a writer's strike, and when it finally came back it just got worse and worse, until it was unwatchable. The first 13 episodes of season 1 were the best, because it was a full-blown satire of high school drama tropes that time. Then it got big during that long asterisk break at the middle of its first season. Starting with the season 1's back 9 episodes to the end, they were becoming too gimmicky with tributes, guest stars and covering current hits that time. Catfish was a fun watch at the start, but it just devolved into fake, stage tripe. Not sure it was ever real TBF, but at least at the start it was somewhat believable. I did it because you called me a fat ass. Kelly Price remains my all-time favorite villain motivation. Misfits, unfortunately. To me it all fell apart once Nathan left. Grey's Anatomy. Everyone on that show is so fucking annoying. And nowhere on earth will 5 doctors be pushing the patient's bed into the preparation room before an operation. It's the only hospital that is run solely by doctors. No nurses needed. Dexter was great, but peaked at the end of season 4. Could not stand the last 2 seasons. I just pretend it was cancelled after the Trinity season and never speak of the last few. Sliders went downhill after season 3. By season 5 it was meh. Lost 3 out of 4 cast members and went from being an episodic show about exploring the multiverse to being a serial show about fascist aliens. Designated Survivor. It started out very much like a modern day West Wing. But a key plot arc involved one of the key characters deliberately withholding his HIV status from his boyfriend. That's bad enough, but the show went on to vilify the boyfriend for being justifiably angry. Because F asterisk 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 consent. Am I right? Edit. If you really want your blood to boil, the showrunners had the boyfriend apologize to the key character asterisk 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 FOR getting angry about being exposed to HIV without his knowledge or consent, and we all learned a valuable lesson in erasing THES stigma . I found that show and loved the first season, but like many similar shows it got shitty once they had to invent new crises for Hannah Wells to solve and to keep Kirkman as the underdog. Falling Skies had cool things every season, but they were definitely running out of quality ideas or writers by season 4. That finale was a joke also. I'm glad you brought this up, because there's quite a bit to unload. The first 3 seasons were great. Everything went downhill once Lexi was born. I couldn't stand her character and I cringed every time she spoke. I rejoiced when Lexi was gone, but the final season doesn't have much to brag about either. Instead I feel like the final season tried to set too much up with very little time left, so it all felt empty. Shameless. Haven't even finished the season finales and I've heard it only gets worse. The last few seasons of this show had way too much Debbie. Riverdale. I'm not convinced the guy who writes Riverdale has ever spoken to a real teenager. I stick this one out purely for the hilarity of it. Archie and the gang have superpowers now and are fighting an evil wizard. I'm not making that up.